A major development in the ongoing grooming gang scandal is set to shake Westminster next week. The Prime Minister faces mounting pressure to launch a comprehensive national inquiry following a damning report from Baroness Casey. Her months-long audit will directly link these horrific crimes to men of Pakistani origin and reveal how white British girls were systematically ignored due to institutional fears of being labeled racist. The findings come despite fierce resistance from Keir. Starmer, who continues arguing that another inquiry would only delay justice for victims. However, Baroness Casey's report suggests the opposite, calling for fresh investigation into perpetrators' backgrounds and explosive claims of widespread cover-ups across multiple authorities. GB News national reporter Charlie Peters has tracked this story from day one, uncovering a shocking reality that spans over 50 different towns and cities affected by this epidemic. Following GB News investigations, the previous government under Rishi Sunak launched a grooming gangs task force that has made over 1,000 arrests since April 2023. Yet under the current Labour administration, calls for a national inquiry have been repeatedly rejected since January. The government's stance centers on preferring localized inquiries, pointing to the Telford model where a 2020 review exposed over 1,000 victims across decades. They also reference the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse published in 2022. Though critics argue this examination was insufficient, covering only 6 areas rather than the extensive network of affected communities. However, the political landscape may be shifting dramatically. Reports indicate Baroness Casey's findings will explicitly demand a national inquiry into the grooming gang scandal. Government reaction remains uncertain, but survivors have received direct contact from Safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips this morning, promising new actions will be announced next week based on testimony they've provided to ministers. Many survivors have been meeting with Home Office teams over recent months, with GB News facilitating crucial introductions between victims and government officials. These testimonies are now directly influencing forthcoming government announcements, though specific details remain undisclosed. The timing couldn't be more politically charged. Baroness Casey's rapid audit, announced in January amid relentless pressure from Conservatives, Reform Party, and influential figures including Elon Musk, has stretched into a 6-month investigation. This delay has allowed other national inquiries to launch covering infected blood scandals, the Lucy Letby case, and the Nottingham tragedy, while grooming gangs somehow escape statutory investigation. If you're following this developing story, make sure to subscribe for the latest updates as this situation unfolds rapidly across the political landscape. The reasons behind this avoidance run deeper than simple political correctness or racism fears. Evidence suggests potential corruption and collusion between public authorities and abusers. Recent GB News analysis revealed hundreds of convictions since the early 2000s, yet 0 deportations since 2011. Most disturbing was their network analysis, showing extensive connections between individual towns and criminal groups. Baroness Casey previously exposed institutional failures in her 2015 Rotherham report, revealing ongoing cover-ups despite earlier investigations. Rotherham whistleblower Jane Sr. praised Casey's direct approach, expressing confidence that she would call out the scandal honestly and rigorously. The coming week represents perhaps Starmer's most challenging period as Prime Minister. Wednesday brings Prime Minister's questions, alongside a Conservative amendment to the Policing and Crime Bill demanding a national inquiry vote. If Baroness Casey's Monday report demands an inquiry and Labour MPs vote against it Wednesday, the political fallout could be catastrophic. Some Labour MPs are already breaking ranks. Jake Richards from Rother Valley suggests they'll listen carefully to Casey's recommendations. Paul Waugh from Rochdale has moved from being open to actively calling for a national inquiry following yesterday's Manchester court convictions. Sarah, champion from Rotherham, and Dan Carden from Liverpool have joined calls since January. The urgency cannot be overstated because these crimes continue today. The Child Sexual Exploitation Task Force continues making thousands of arrests, proving this epidemic never ended. Without rigorous analysis of causes, drivers, and impacts, policing hasn't learned from past failures exposed across the country. Recent court evidence illustrates the devastating human cost. One victim, Girl A, thought having sex with 30 men by age 13 was normal, estimating abuse by 200 men total. She was in local social services care, yet accused of prostitution at 13 years old. This represents the reality behind political debates about inquiry formats. Subscribe now to stay informed as this critical story develops, because these decisions will determine whether justice finally comes for thousands of victims. The scandal spans traditional labor-controlled authorities, making Starmer's position increasingly untenable. Baroness Casey's respected reputation across political parties means refusing her recommendations would create an impossible situation. These crimes constitute sexual violence comparable to war zones, demanding immediate comprehensive investigation. Public institutions feared investigating due to racism accusations, abandoning their duty of care to society's most vulnerable members. Victims disproportionately came from broken care systems and included disabled children, revealing predatory enterprises targeting the defenseless. While crimes appeared localized, networks connected across regions, demanding national rather than piecemeal investigation. The government promised rapid action, but delivered 6 months of delay while abuse continued. Politicians playing politics with girls' lives represents moral bankruptcy, demanding immediate accountability through proper statutory inquiry with power to compel witnesses and take evidence under oath.